at 100.3. And we welcome to the stage the Karaoke Brothers, Kevin Fry from the Senior Saver and Tyler Huntsaker from Hash House A Go-Go, talking and interviewing only noteworthy guests from St. George. That's karaoke with the C. Here are the Karaoke Brothers.
Tequila.
Yeah, and we're off and running. Kevin's over there playing on the computer again, so this time we actually got the intro. But we're super excited today. Last week we had Jimmy Keston in, and this week we have JInks, who I think, JInks, you're the only Democrat in Southern Utah?
There's a couple floating around.
Okay, so they meet every Wednesday.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a phone booth over on 2nd South.
Yeah, exactly. A phone booth that they all meet each other at. So we're excited to have you here. Thanks so much for coming. And,
thank you for inviting me.
Just in this political landscape that we have right now, it's hard to see why someone would go towards the Democrat side, right? Kevin?
Well, I know that we probably need to sing about it first.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
that's true.
I know what you're saying.
He always keeps me level. That's a good thing.
Yeah, so since we're the Karaoke Brothers, JInks, we're a little weird around here. You know, that's how it works.
Well, I don't
that's
know
why we're on 100.3.
Yeah, but I definitely appreciate that you characterize yourself as weird, Kevin, because I know you.
Well, you know, thanks, JInks. We need to get JInks to sit closer to the mic or get the mic closer to you. Can you move that mic for him, Tyler? I know without. There you go. There you go.
COVID-free hand.
Is that better? A little as close as you can get, JInks. I know that if you could just kind of kiss that mic a little bit, that would be great. There you go. Twist
That's
it toward. There you go. Is that better? Can you hear him better?
I'm fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure we can hear you. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So Karaoke Brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Karaoke Brothers.
Yeah,
so
it's all
we
good.
know, JInks, that you love baseball. So why don't you take us out to the baseball game?
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, 'cause it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, 'cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Woo!
You know what? I think we can get that on the Electric Theater over there.
That was pretty good.
We can take that on the road.
That was totally unexpected, JInks. Way to go.
Yeah.
Do I get paid for that?
Yeah, of course. Just like we do.
Don't forget your mint on the way out.
Like we do. We were on the golf course today for the Chamber of Commerce tournament.
That's why I'm so red today.
Right.
Got some sun.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, you know the group Bread, right? For some reason while we were playing, one of the guys we were playing with us started talking about bread songs. So we were out there singing bread songs. If a picture paints 1,000 words,
really?
Then why? Yeah. And then all of a sudden we're like, what are we doing?
See, we were listening to nothing but 80s.
Yeah.
You know, nothing but some 80s, like Word Up. Yeah. Y'all pretty ladies around the world got a weird thing to show you. So tell all the boys and girls. You know, that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
You're singing some weird stuff, but that's okay.
Thong song. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. So, JInks, believe it or not, we actually get down to business here pretty quick. So let me just tell you why we've got JInks on, because we had Jimmy Keston on last week, and he's the Republican guy. He's through and through red.
A pastor.
And a pastor, right? And JInks Dabney, he's actually a practicing attorney in town, and he's been a practicing attorney in town for, is it like 75 years now, JInks?
25.
Okay.
You're going to get yours, Kevin. You better be careful.
It's coming. It's
I
coming.
see that fire.
As long as this is on, I'll get back.
Yeah, exactly.
It's coming. I know. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be good. So 25 years you've been practicing?
Down here.
What's the name of your practice
It's
here?
my wife and myself. We're both attorneys, Dabney and Dabney.
Is it really? I didn't know that. That's really cool.
I like that.
How long has she been an attorney?
1 year less than I have.
Is that
I
right?
graduated in 73. Barbara graduated in 74.
Yeah.
And we formed Dabney and Dabney in 81 after we had a few children, started our family.
Yep.
And then we formed it in 1981, and we've been Dabney and Dabney ever since.
Wow.
So who wins those arguments?
Depends on
that was
the
my question
content.
too. Yeah. You know, so you've really been practicing law for almost 40 years. Is that right?
50.
Is that right? Did I get that math right?
What is
Yeah,
it?
you're bad
20
at math.
plus 26? Yeah, well, 46.
Or-
yeah, 40,
yeah.
Over
Carry the
45
3
is the way I use it.
divided by 2.
Okay.
It's
That's
the
a
square
long
root.
time. So you're still doing it. That's
Yes.
wow. Okay, so the big deal that's happening right now is this presidential race, right? The orange man,
Bad.
right? Everybody.
Bad man.
Right? Bad man, he's bad. Okay.
Orange is bad.
He's as orange as you are today.
Exactly.
And
That's
then
why I wore this.
and then we have Jinx here to represent the blue side of things, the Democratic side. So how long have you been a Democrat, Jinx?
I became a Democrat when Bush Jr., gave his speech on the axis of evil.
Oh, really?
I don't remember the year, but I remember the event. My wife and I were watching the television, and he went on and gave that presentation. And as soon as he gave that, I thought I was going to have to scrape my wife off the ceiling because she said, "Why did he include Korea?"
Oh.
And I said, "Because he's an idiot." He says he doesn't understand that you never criticize Korea or they will start rattling sabers, threaten to go to war, and they'll do all kinds of rockets and shoot them off in the Sea of Japan or some crazy thing. You don't even talk about them.
Yeah.
I says, he's nuts. Well, that wasn't the reason she was had to scrape her off. The reason was our middle daughter, Amanda Jane Dabney, was serving an LDS mission in South Korea.
Do you guys have an LDS background? Just
Just my wife does.
Okay, got it.
I do not. I'm from the East Coast. I didn't even know what
what LDS meant.
was.
Yeah.
Until he crossed the
No.
Mason-Dixon
River.
line. Yeah. Got it.
But and she said, we're going to go down and change our party. The next morning, I was at the office really early, about 7 o'clock, and about 7:45, Barbara walks in and says, "Come on, we're going." I says, "Where are we going?" And she says, "We're going to the county clerk's office. We're going to become Democrats today."
So wait, was it that easy to convince you?
Time.
Yeah.
I think it's about
Yeah?
time. Well, there's a reason why it was so easy, but you'll
Okay.
probably get into how did I become a Republican first and a Democrat second. I'll cover it then.
Okay.
But that's how it happened. That was the moment we went down.
Wow, that's
Smart
cool.
man.
Okay, so with all this craziness that's been going on, give us just a temperature feel for how you feel about President Trump right now. Where are you at on that?
My opinion of President Trump is pretty far out there.
Well, let's hear it, man. I want to hear it.
I am still having difficulty understanding how apparently a large portion, I don't think and I hope not a majority, but a large portion of the American people actually think this guy is a good person,
Good human.
a religious man, a good president, someone who is thoughtful, careful, and who thinks through problems. He brags about the fact that he doesn't read books.
I haven't heard that, but okay.
And I thought, I've got an idea. We talked about this at one of our little get-togethers the other day. I said, what in the world's he going to do for a presidential library? And I instantly thought, I says, well, I'm going to send a couple of hundred comic books because that's the only thing he probably reads, maybe when he was younger, because he says he doesn't read books. He can't put books in his library.
So he just thought picture books.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how.
I think he's got green eggs and ham. I mean,
At
everybody's got
least.
that.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
has Dr. Seuss.
Anyway, I think I don't know how a good, normal, intelligent human being could even consider voting for Donald Trump. Now, they didn't really have, some of those people didn't vote for him. He was able to direct the last election. He was able to direct some of the populace to vote against Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
It wasn't for him.
Fence-sitters.
Yes.
And now he's trying to do the same thing with Trump. He doesn't want to talk about the
With
economy.
Biden, you mean?
Or Biden, that's
Yeah.
right. He doesn't want to talk about what he's done. He doesn't want to talk about the economy because it's in the toilet. He doesn't want to talk about coronavirus. He doesn't want to talk about 185,000 Americans who have died. He wants to talk about support of the police. What's that got to do with anything?
Okay.
That's not what people are voting on. They're concerned about Black Lives Matter. They are concerned about the environment. They're concerned about the economy. They're concerned about their health. They're concerned about climate change. He's trying to change everything. He's trying to pick on the person. And
Trying to pick on Biden.
Let me tell you, Biden is not easy territory to really go at. He has been back there for 40 plus years. He has been there, done that. He's been two of the three branches of government. He understands that. He knows how it works. He knows that words matter. What you say on the national stage is important. What you say or don't say on the international stage can get you into a war. And some of this stuff he does is just almost like, like he's baiting, like he's baiting somebody.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think a lot of Republicans do not fully appreciate is the fact that in 2016, and this was confirmed by congressional committees, in 2016, there is no question that Russia was trying to influence our election, and it was all directed against the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton. Now, the evidence is they're doing the same thing in 2020 against Joe Biden. Now, Russia is not a friendly place. It's run by a dictator who tried to poison one of the more influential people just recently, and he got caught, but he doesn't care. The point is, Russia is...
Who was that? Who did you try to poison?
It was a guy that was they tried to poison him with something, and they finally got them to release him so he could go back to Germany, and that's when they did the diagnosis of the blood and the urine and all that kind of stuff. And they said, this guy's been poisoned. Here's the thing, it's hollowing in his system. So he was poisoned. That's how the last guy got shot. They got assassinated or something.
Okay.
So anytime somebody comes up, that's how Putin handles his problem. But here's the question I would have for a normal, thoughtful Republican who is looking at Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Does it bother you at all that Russia is trying to influence the election, and they're not doing it in such a way that's going to help the Democrats?
Yeah, I mean, I think, no, they tried to prove collusion. Of course, they couldn't find enough evidence on that, right? I mean,
some of that, but the Senate committee was pretty clear. They were over here. They were going after the Democratic Party. No question about that. They say, well, did Trump, did he know about it? Well, it doesn't make any difference. The point is, they were trying to get him in the White House, and they did, and they want to get him in again. Russia does not like Joe Biden, and they didn't like Hillary Clinton.
Why do you think they don't like him? I mean, not that I'm a fan of Russia, but why don't they like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton?
Well, I can tell you after the first meeting that they had over in Russia, Putin ran circles around him. He thought he was screwing, but he didn't even have a clue as to what was going on over there.
Who ran circles around who?
Putin. Putin had him in the palm of his hands. The Donald wants to build a couple of hotels in Russia.
Oh, I see. He had Trump in the palm of his hand. Okay.
Trump.
He just wants to build a couple of hotels. He's not interested in Russia. The problem is Russia is not on the side of Joe Biden in this election. They weren't with Hillary. They're not with him. They love Trump. Well, if Russia loves Trump, let me tell you, that should be reason for a lot of people to say, I'm not going to vote for him. Because Russia is not good. We shouldn't be trying to. And he ends up going over thinking that he's the first president who's going to come out looking good because he's trying to do something with North Korea. Ha ha. We haven't heard about that for 9-10 months? He went over, looked pretty good, couldn't get it to do it, split, nope, I'm going home, got to do something else. And that was it. We haven't heard anything.
They put on quite a show with him kind of crossing the border there and shaking hands and all that kind of stuff.
This was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Well, he got over there and realized they only agree with something if they get more than you do.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with North Korea. You just ignore them. You don't do anything with them.
the big topic though in this whole coronavirus thing is China and the deal that Trump put together with China. And then, there is talk out there that this virus came out of China and that maybe, just maybe, it was tied to the trade deal that Trump did with China, and China was really not happy even though they signed it, and all of a sudden here comes the coronavirus. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think China created the coronavirus on purpose. I think it came out of probably something to do with meat, probably pigs, from what I understand. I really don't know. I know they did what they could to try to get rid of it, tried to solve it there. It got out, and the rest is history.
Right.
But
Trump calls
here's
it the China virus.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He calls it the China virus. You don't feel that way?
Let me give you a parallel. No, I don't feel that way at all. I would never call it the China virus. And let me tell you why. I grew up in the Vietnam era, and I remember when our military people, and I was in the military for 7 years, we didn't call the Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese, we called them communists, but we did one other thing. We called them chinks. They were chinks.
It's a family show, Jinx.
Now the reason I'm saying this is that dehumanizes killing them.
Oh, I
because they're not a real person, like a mom or a dad or a brother.
Yeah, I remember that word when I was a kid.
Thing. Yeah. They called him chinks.
Yeah.
And they also called him gooks.
Remember that too.
Because if you can call someone a thing, he's easier to kill.
Right.
And it's easier to justify that you're over there doing a good thing because you're getting rid of those things over there. So when you label something, you're conveying something. So his point was, when he said China virus, he's saying it's China's fault. It's not my fault.
Do you think it's his fault?
No, I don't think the virus is his fault.
Okay. You think he handled
I think
it bad?
he handled it beyond poorly. I mean, from day one, the first time he talked, he was throwing his hands around. He says, "Hey, this is something the Democrats dreamed up. It is you remember, hoax." Well, it wasn't a hoax. This killed 185,000 Americans. He thought it was a hoax.
Yeah.
Because he didn't know anything.
Well,
he didn't know what he was talking
of course,
about.
the projections were way off. I mean, there's no question that projections. They thought 2 or 3, maybe as many as 5 million people. In fact, we had people on this show who thought that it would be a 5 or 6% death rate, and it obviously hasn't turned out that way. And then the CDC made a statement recently that said that a lot of these COVID that they assigned COVID were people with pre-existing conditions, and they may have died anyway, but they assigned it to COVID. So I mean, there's a lot of fanfare. There's a lot of discussion about this virus, and I'm one of these people that's just I don't think the whole thing was handled very well personally.
No. Right.
I mean, I think it was a cluster of something.
It was the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, it just wasn't bad. And it was bad because we shut down the economy for it, and I don't think that was necessary. But that's my opinion. I don't know. So what do you think, Jinx? Do we need to do that?
I think, you mean right now?
Yeah.
Oh, we're in a whole different place right now.
Right.
That becomes a very complex question. But here's the thing. When it started from it's a hoax and went from there, when the President of the United States says something like that, there's a lot of people in America that assume there might be a problem with that. He may be right. He's the president. He's supposed to know this
you're
stuff.
Right. You're
He's
right.
supposed to get it right the first time. Harry Truman, if you remember the little block of wood that used to sit on the front of his desk and it says, "The buck stops here." Trump doesn't believe that. If it's good news, it can stop there. If it's bad news, he deflects it. He sends it someplace else. He made a beautiful, strategic, political move. But think about it for a moment. At some point, he was getting heat to do something because he wasn't doing anything. He didn't know what to do. So he wanted to get it off of his desk. So how does he do that? He said, "I'm going to let the states handle this." Now, the effect of that was you've now taken one guy who's supposed to be the leader of the United States, and he has now given it to 50 little leaders in 50 different states, and they have to decide all of the issues dealing with coronavirus.
Yeah.
The medical equipment, the doctors, the potential liability.
Do you think that's
the
unfair?
life-saving.
Do you think it's unfair?
Well, yeah, you could end up with 50 different approaches to coronavirus, for crying out loud.
Well, like we're color-coded.
There should have been one.
Like we're color-coded, and then Vegas
we're yellow.
Is like a series, phase 1, phase 2, but we're color-coded. And I even heard recently that Idaho, it said the pandemic's over in Idaho.
Oh.
It's not a thing anymore.
They're green lighted.
Yeah.
Whatever they are. Interesting.
It's not going to be over till they have a vaccine that's a real vaccine that really
Do you,
works.
you feel
From
that
Bill
way?
Gates?
Do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
I
Do you
think so.
think? Okay, here we go. Do you think we need a vaccine for this? I mean, we've had flu vaccines and it hasn't killed the flu yet, and people die every year, millions and the millions. We've had a new vaccine comes out every year for the flu. So, what do you think about this? You think we have to have a vaccine before we can be safe?
I do. I think a lot of people aren't going to think it's safe until they do. I think they're going to see a lot of people wearing masks. The ones that bother me are the ones that don't wear masks because they're saying, I have a constitutional right. This is not about constitutional rights. You know, you have the right to swing your hands in the air all the time. And a famous Supreme Court decision said, well, you know, your right to wave around and wave your arms around stops about 1 inch short of my nose. Well, you don't have, it's a constitutional right. That's just stupid.
Well, they're really talking about, like the Democrats are talking more about the morality of it, you know, being protect your
protecting
neighbor,
each other, yeah.
protect your neighbor,
Yeah.
and then the Republican thought is it's my right
Yeah.
to wear whatever
Yeah,
I want.
I
The
just-
information doesn't support it, right? So I know that I've gone to plenty of places where
Nobody's
I have
wearing a
my mask. You know, because I'm in the industry, I have to wear a mask
Well,
every
right.
day.
Restaurant
So,
business. Yeah.
so every day I wear a mask. It doesn't bother me either which way or another. So I don't know. I'm more on the
Well,
fence with it.
that's one of those things in the restaurant business where realistically, employees could wear masks anyway, just to
Exactly.
protect the customers from
Sure.
whatever.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
wearing gloves.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the same effect of wearing gloves and disinfecting tables and all that stuff.
Right, which is things that some are
Go
done
without
anyway.
the territory.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
how difficult is, for example, when I came in here this afternoon, you've got a couple of bottles of hand cleaner out there, disinfectants. How difficult it is just to put that out in the front. So when someone walks in your place of business, they do this. Now, I can tell you this, just when they were getting ready to start to talk about this, there's a business here in town. It's called Mr. D's. It's a little gas station down on River Road. And I had a friend of mine tell me about Randy Patterson. He said, they got the best cinnamon buns in the whole face of the earth. They're so darn good. And Randy's a pretty big guy, so he's got evidence.
I got
he
evidence.
He never met any food he didn't like. Sorry, Randy. Anyway, he said, you got to go try this out. So I did. And here's the thing, because I want to tell you this coronavirus. I walked in there, and I had my mask around my neck, and I was just pulling it up, and I was right there at the front door. I was met by, and this was way before this was, there was a girl standing right there, and she said, oh, you've got your mask? Okay, you don't need one of ours. Step over here and wash and clean your hands. Now, that was a gasoline station. That wasn't a food, a
Did you have to
restaurant.
wash your hands in gasoline? I'm just wondering.
No, it was a hand rinser.
Okay, got it.
So,
Yeah,
I went over,
gasoline.
washed my hands. I said, every business, if I was running a business, I would have adopted that from day one.
So-
I just would have said, if you want to come in here, we're happy to have you here, but I want the mask and I want you to wash your hands, and this because that keeps everybody safe.
Well, and
Yeah.
so I have that business, and when we started and we opened back up in July, end of July, and we had our promise, their promise. Our promise was everybody gets temp checked, everybody's washing their hands every half hour. We set up extra cleaning so you have the cleanest experience. And people would come in, and all that we'd ask them is to wear a mask to the table.
Okay, we
And
got
that's where it was bad.
less than a minute and a half. Jinx,
Yeah.
the next 45 seconds are yours to give us your pitch for Biden-Harris.
The reason you ought to vote for Joe Biden is because he's running against an idiot that has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't read books. He can't tell the truth if his life depended on it. And how he even got in the office, I don't know. In my own personal opinion, I think Russia's anti-Hillary Clinton was so impactful that it somehow squeezed him in on the vote of the states. It just happened to fall in the right way. But the ones that like him don't want to talk about the fact that if there was no college at the national level, he would have lost by 3 million votes.
Who's
He
going to
was
win,
not
Jinx?
the popular
Who's going to
thing.
win this election? We got 30 seconds.
Joe Biden's going to win. I don't think there's any question about it. Trump doesn't.
You really
have
think he's gonna
anything.
win?
I think he's going to win, unless Russia, has another
There
successful
it is.
campaign.
There it is.
And you can say, "Oh, you're just saying that, actually your backup." I have no idea because now they're trying to prevent people from voting. They're the ballot box thing is now coming up. Can you mail it in? Okay, all bets are off the table now.
There, you've heard it right here, ladies and gentlemen. JInks Dabney, thank you so much
You got
for being
the
here with
Republican
us.
view and the Democratic view. No better way, given the facts here.
You've been listening to the
Karaoke Brothers. Thank
Kevin
you.
Fry
Thank
and
you.
Tyler Hunsaker. Watch and listen again on Facebook or YouTube, Spotify, and RadioSt.George.com. Till next time, this has been the Karaoke Brothers with a C.